Yo, what's good? On this episode of the podcast, I had Theo Santana. Theo is a good friend of mine, and we met when I first moved to Shanghai. He has to be one of the busiest people I have ever met. I love his ambition and his photography. Please give it up for Theo Santana.
In the land of China, people hardly got nothing at all.
No possessions?
And in China, they never go to church.
No religion too?
Or do magic.
Well, it's easy if you try, Dick.
3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live. Hey Theo, thank you for coming over. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself, man?
Very good. So this is the earliest I've ever done a podcast, actually. I know you are doing a photo project right now where you get up super early and you go to different spots. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. I started that because I was trying to check some new films. They call like film move picture or motion picture film.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was pretty excited on that. So I decided to buy one of each. So they have like many different kinds. They have the Kodak ones, they have the Fuji ones. And then I say, man, I want to try and see what's the color switch will be more perfect for my project. So I decided to buy one of each on Taobao and then go to the band every day in the morning. So I did that for 10 days in a row. So I was going like every day trying one different film to check the results. And that was pretty awesome. Like going there and see the people in the morning and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I really thought it was cool because you're getting up every morning. Like, what time did you get up?
And most of the time I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then get a cab because I live pretty far from the band. So I need to get a 20 minutes cab. And I was at the band around 5:25 or 5, at most 5:30. So then every time that I arrive there, I start from the same location. So there is a bridge there. Everyone,
right.
And people goes there like to take photos with the drone shots. And it's the most iconic photo. And most of the Instagrammers go there to take this photo. So I was arriving there at the same spot every day at 5:30. And most of the days, like there was a lot of people, the Instagrammers over there, taking photo of people from different countries, like pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't really know what Shanghai is like in the morning because people start their, like a lot of expats, a lot of my friends, they start their day at maybe 8 or 9, but I've woken up sometimes from jet lag at 5 in the morning, and it's a completely different place. What do you think about Shanghai in the morning versus like normal times?
It's pretty awesome because when you go, especially to this place, like I was going every day in the morning, you start to know the people, like who is there. And most of the times, or there are people doing exercise there. The people who wake up early in the morning at between 5 and 6 and go there run and after go work. So those people are there almost every day. And also there are always some old guys just like doing some morning exercise. And then after a few days, the people start to know you and then say hello to you. Like they start to recognize you because most of the people who goes there at the same time are always the same, and the buds is interesting because when I did 2 projects, actually, one at Laoshimen for 10 days, I just finished, and one at the band. But the band one is more interesting because a lot of people go there who are tourists. So there are the local people who are there all the time.
Definitely.
But there are people like the tourists who go there in the morning, or sometimes I found some drunk people there. They come from the
still up from last night.
Yes, they just like still up. They just like looking for the sky, like the skyscraper, like just like empty mind. I don't know what they are thinking, but they're just sitting there chilling. So that was pretty interesting to see those people over there.
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about Shanghai is the community. Like before I came here, I had no thought that I could ever be a part of a community in China. But even now around my neighborhood, I know my Baoan, I know the guy who cuts hair down the street, I know like the people I buy bananas from. Like you become a part of a community here. How would you compare that to Brazil? That's where you're from, right?
Yeah. Actually, I'm from Brazil, but I'm living in China since December 2010 was my first time here. And after that, I didn't move back to Brazil. So I'm here for a long time. But yeah, the community here is like, I don't know. I grew up like from 22 years old until 30. I'm here like all the time. So when I was there, I was back in the college. So it's different, but I think the community here is pretty good, especially as like we do skateboard and stuff. Right. So it's pretty small. But when we arrived here, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, when I arrived in Shanghai, we know everyone, so everyone was pretty close. And now it's like kind of so many skaters here, so it's cool. I like the community here, especially for people who create stuff.
For sure. What I was getting at was more like the community of just random people, like not even your friends. Like in America, I'm the same as you. I never lived in New York, where I was working there and felt like I was walking around the city and become part of a community. So I actually can't compare it myself either. But I just never in a million years would I thought I could speak Chinese to like just my local Baoan or something like that. I just think that is super different and not something I would have ever expected to do. So I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The same happened with me all the time. I know all the Bawan, the people who cuts my hair. I know everyone in my community. And also the guys in the band that I was doing the projects, like after the 5-6 days, I start to talk to them and they, hey, what are you doing there? What you are doing here? So they're pretty curious, like, and back in Brazil, people don't go get closer to you. But in China, sometimes you are just walking the street and people start to stare at you and look at you and say, they won't talk to you because maybe you are not part of this. You're not Chinese, so they know you're from outside the world.
Yeah.
So they're curious about you, like,
especially you, a redhead.
Yeah, like red hair, like me, or like you, or whatever. If you're white and have big eyes, like, or people will look at you and say, who is this guy? So it happened to you, I guess. For
Of
happened
course.
with everyone who is
Of course,
in
it
Shanghai.
happens. It happens to everyone. And something I admire about you a lot is that you seem to have no problem whatsoever going up to anyone and just starting to speak to them. I wanted to ask you, do you think that's something that you learned over time that you like? For me, it had to be over time. I had to become brave in a sense, just go up and talk to anyone. What about you?
For me, it's I feel pretty comfortable to do that. I don't know why. Maybe since I was pretty young, I just talk with people. I don't care. I don't mind who are they, what they are doing, what's their background. Just talk to them. People are always open to talk with you. Maybe some people will say no and they'll say will be unhappy, but most of the people that you go and you talk, they will always say they will be welcome to you. Like the ones who don't welcome to you just say some few words and then just leave. But most of the people, I say more than 50% will be welcome to talk to you and accept you.
Yeah, more than 50%. I completely agree. Like, I think the biggest reason why people are shy is they're afraid of rejection. And once you realize rejection is just simply like, oh, I don't want to talk to you, or like, sorry, I'm busy. Like, it's nothing. I don't know. For me, that was it opened up a world of opportunity, just like, especially practicing Chinese. I think that's when I broke down the barrier of being comfortable just talking to anyone.
Yeah, I can share a story about talk with people. Like 5 years ago, I was in the metro in Hong Kong, and I was out of battery on my cell phone. And then I say, man, I need a battery because I was like in Hong Kong, I didn't know the location and everything. So I met there was a guy beside me. He was a German guy. And then I just start to chat with him. Like I don't know, he was 60 or 60 years old, I guess.
Oh, older.
Yeah, like pretty older than me, like maybe 56, whatever. And then I start to talk to him, and then he say, okay, here's the battery. So he gave me the battery, I used that. And after that, so he said, man, I will be drink a beer. You want to join? So I went join the beer with him, and then we start to become friends.
Yeah.
And then after that, so the second time he came to Shanghai, I said, hey, you want a beer? Then we become friends. So he introduced for the company that I was working for the last 4 years. So from a small battery that I just can ask a person, he introduced for a company that I work for like the next 4 years of my life. So yeah, that's something you do pretty small, but you just talk with people and then you can get like a lot of return on that, So just talk and people will say welcome and then talk to you, and sometimes you can become friends, or sometimes you can get rejections, as you said.
It's no big deal if you get rejected. I think that's a beautiful story. And I think that's it's like rolling the dice every time you talk to someone, and you never know who you're going to meet. And I think it kind of goes back to like never judge a book by its cover. Like you should never have any pre like assumptions of someone. It's always fun to just learn and talk to new people.
Yeah.
I think that can like also translate to Instagram. We both love to use Instagram a lot, and I feel I've met so many amazing people just through Instagram. Like back in the day when there was MySpace and Facebook, I didn't have the urge to talk to random people. What about you? Have you always been talking to random people on the internet, or was it just starting through Instagram?
Actually, I would say start more on Instagram, but then I created a YouTube channel like some years ago, whatever, and then I start to post something, and a lot of people send me message all the time, people that I even don't know where they come from, but I always reply and get a lot of feedback on that. But I made a lot of friends through Instagram as well. Like there is one guy called Duran. I don't know if you know him.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
So he is from
photographer, right?
Yes, he's from South Africa. Then some days I just post some moments I was in South Africa in Cape Town, and he just hit me, hey, are you in South Africa? So let's have a beer. So that was, I don't know, back 4 or 5 years ago. And then say, okay, let's go. So I didn't know the guy. So he just say, I know some guys from Shanghai. So I say, okay, let's get a beer. And now we are pretty good friends. So now he's in Russia. He's a very good photographer. And that's just one small case that people that I met from Instagram, and now I'm kind of friends.
Definitely. He's in Russia, you said now?
Yeah. He's in Moscow now. So he was in Germany. So doing like some photo projects now there. Now he's in Moscow doing as well. And he'll stay there for a month.
Wow.
And I'm always keep in touch with him. Maybe do some trip together. We are planning.
Well, speaking of trips, I know you just went to, was it Iran or?
Yeah, this year I have been in many countries. Like maybe in January I was in Japan. I went to Hokkaido. Then I met John. John was here in the podcast for the first episode.
Yeah, John was here for the first one. You met John in Hokkaido.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah. So January I was in Hokkaido there, snowboarding with John. It was pretty awesome. Like amazing place. Like if you want to see the real Japan, I think Hokkaido is one of the best.
Right.
In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe
you've been to a lot of parts of Japan though.
Yeah. I always go there. I have been there many times. So I always try to go to different places. Sometimes I just stop in Tokyo, then I go to Kyoto, or go to the north and then explore Hokkaido, or go to the south. So I always try to explore some different regions of Japan. And then January I was there, and then February we went to Iran, me and my wife. So we stayed there almost 15 days driving around. That was pretty crazy, like go to Iran and drive was not something common to do. I met a lot of people on the way, and I was talking to them, I'm driving here, I rent a car, and say, are you crazy? Like, and then they say, if you hit someone here, what's going on? So, I don't know, man, I'm just drive a car, rent, and then everything is fine. So we drove, I don't know, almost 2,000 kilometers. It's almost like, I don't know, 1,000 miles. Like
wow. You did that in Iran?
Yeah, I did that.
What?
So,
I didn't know you rented a car out there.
Yeah, I rent a car, and then I actually was pretty fun, like when I arrived in Iran, that first time ever happened with me. So I was with my passport on my pocket and drops, and it was inside of the airplane. So when I arrived inside of the immigration, I was without passport.
Oh my God.
Then I start to get pretty scared. Imagine like I was in Iran. I just arrived in Iran and I was without passport. I say, fuck, what I can do, like I could not do anything. Then I start to get pretty nervous. Then they say, you will be deported. And then I say, but deported for where? My visa to China is on my passport. I cannot go back to China because I don't have a Chinese visa. Then they say, we'll put in the next flight and send you back to Brazil.
Oh my
And then
God.
I say, man, I will be in Brazil. I need 1 month to apply for the visa. I was
Jesus.
like, my mind was getting crazy. And then I say, man, what should I do now? And then I just sit down and then start to do some kind of meditation and say, I cannot do anything, I just like
can't do anything.
breathe here and then wait.
Here.
And then after, I think 3 or 4 hours, someone coming running and with my passport, and hey, we found.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then I say, wow, let's start the trip from here. Whoa, it's pretty
Jesus,
pretty
3
intense.
or 4 hours not knowing.
Yeah, without knowing what will happen, what we'll do. Yeah, because in the airplane, when you lost something there and you are inside of the bus and you cannot come back.
Yeah.
They don't let you coming back.
Of course.
And then they clean the airplane, and after they shut the door, and then the next one go inside of the airplane to get the next flight. So they could not find, and then they close the door. So I need to wait until they open again for the next
So you were
flight.
already under the assumption it's gone.
Yeah, it's
because
gone.
they cleaned the airport.
They
cleaned the airplane.
They didn't find anything.
If the cleaner doesn't find it, how is anyone else going to find it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
So then
God.
I say, please go back again. I was like kind of scared, and my wife was with me. So she said, I will go back to China, not stay around by myself.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, and then after like, I don't know, many hours, man, I think it was more than 4 hours to be honest. And then someone coming running with my passport and say, wow, I will go inside of Iran right now.
Oh my God. That is, yeah, you know what? Recently I just got like a passport holder, something to make sure I can never lose it or make it easier to keep safe. Jesus, Theo, that is one hell of a story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get your passport, and then what's the process like going into, what kind of passport do you have? Brazilian?
I have a Brazilian passport right now. So for me, it was pretty easy. I could apply for the visa on arrival. So I just applied for the visa, pay the fee there. I think it was something between 50 or 80 euros. I don't know. I forgot actually. And then I pay for the visa, and then I was inside of the country. So when I was there, I rent a car from the internet before. So there was a guy waiting me there. So
Wow.
I text him on WhatsApp and say, man, I will be late. And then
I will be late.
yeah, then he said, no worries, man, I'll be waiting for you. I think the guys stay there, I don't know, the same time as I did, just
Oh
waiting
my
for me,
God.
maybe drink some coffee or doing something, but he was waiting for me. Yeah, but it was fun. It was pretty interesting. It's a good story,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you get the car, and like, What's the food like? What's the first stuff you do when you drive around? I have no idea
Yeah,
what it'd be
actually,
like.
actually, like I don't want to start from the capital, Tehran, so I want to just go outside as soon as possible because I heard that the traffic is pretty intense there, and I want to go to other place. So I just when I jump inside of the car, I start to drive, and I say start to see the Iran as the countryside. Like I say, wow, I'm Iran, I'm driving here,
Yeah, man.
without no one, and then I start to drive, and then I say, okay, I will just keep driving all the way to the next city. So we just drove, and then we start to understand the country and process inside of my mind. But was pretty good, but it's hard to explain, like but it
Sure.
was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you land in what's the city that you land in Iran?
In Tehran,
Tehran.
yeah, the capital.
So Tehran is the capital of Iran.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever. So you
yeah,
land-
it's the
you
biggest
land in
city.
Tehran.
Yeah, it's the biggest city.
And
yeah.
and your plan is just to drive to the next city? What city was that?
Yeah, it was actually I was not any plan. I was just checking the map and then stopping by random cities. Like
Wow.
then we found that the next city was a city called Maybe my pronunciation
Sure.
is wrong, but whatever. Is the second holiest place in Iran. So they have like a huge mosque over there.
Yeah.
And then was pretty intense. Everyone was black, so that was the religion was like one of the most religious site in Iran. So everyone was like fully covered with their eyes. You
Right.
could not see their eyes. Just like everyone wears black. Like was pretty cool, interesting to see the mosque. The mosque was beautiful, pretty gold and like diamond and stuff like
Yeah.
on the roof. But that was the first city that I stopped. So then when we were there and say, man, where do we sleep now? We had no idea. So we just like went to the.
You didn't book any hotel.
No, I didn't book any hotel.
That's ambitious, Theo.
And then I asked, hey, let's check one hotel and then go there directly. So basically, we just went to the next city and then we stop in a hotel and say, can we sleep here? Then they say, yeah. So then we just like pay and then we sleep there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about your wife? Did she have to dress in the?
Yes, that was some
Wow.
funny story because when she was inside of the airplane, we landed in the Tehran, so they said you must wear the hijab.
Oh,
So then she
wow.
put it, and then I play a lot of jokes, and that when you go back to Shanghai, you will use that again. Then she said, no way, like she was pretty like she doesn't want to. She needs to use that. There is no chance.
There's no choice.
No choice. Women must wear the hijab, so that's their rule number one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you learn anything more behind why they wear the hijab, or just like when?
Actually, it's funny because before there was the kind of the old president of Iran. He was pretty open. He was pretty like friendly to US. I forgot. And then everything was pretty like open. The girls in Iran was wearing like the bikinis. It was like completely open,
Wow.
same as in US. But then there is a new guy that come and then they change all the policy and then they start to wear the hijab again. But yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it kind of actually sounds similar to what's happening in China, like things changing, so it was very open and now a new president comes in and yeah, all of a sudden it's starting to get more strict and things are changing. But yeah, getting back to the trip, what was some of the food that you ate? Like what was that like?
Yeah, in Iran, most of the food over there is just like kind of a kebab. So
Oh.
it's just like rice, like tomatoes and a piece of lamb or piece of chicken. So most of the days that I was there, I was just eating this every day. Every day that I stop in the highway on the gas station, they have this like set, they call set, like it's just like rice, the chicken skewer. Yeah,
Skewer, yeah.
yeah. And then some like roasted tomatoes.
Sure.
So that was almost every day I was eating that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any other highlights from that trip? Like I'm sure you brought cameras. What were you shooting, film mostly or digital? Or?
Yeah, most of the time when I'm going to a trip, so I always try to bring one camera and then 10 types of films to keep the same style, so I don't change too much films. So recently years, I'm using always my Nikon F8. So it's just like a film camera that I bought on Shenyu's, just like eBay from.
It's an SLR, right?
Yes, SLR. And
How many lenses do you carry with
I
that?
just take one because I tried actually when you are traveling, so you try to bring a lot of cans. We go with a big ambitions, but in the reality, you just like use one lens.
Definitely.
So like when you go travel and then you bring a tripod, you bring lights, you bring everything. But at the end, when you see your footage, most of the things was with this only one lens.
Definitely.
Because you get tired to change.
course.
Like some people do that, but most of the time, I myself stick on one lens, one camera, and one film.
Yeah, I agree. I like, for example, we went to that show the other night with that dude. He only brought one camera for the whole trip. And I think that's super wise. And eventually, if you learn what's good for you, like the best camera the best camera is the one that you have on you. So if you learn what's best for you, like I think that's the best thing you can do instead of bringing 10 lenses and, like 2 bodies, like forget that. Just like figure out what's best for you.
Yeah, exactly. I travel a lot, man. I have been traveling for the last almost, I don't know, 9, 10 years, whatever. And as more as you travel, as more you learn that the equipment that you bring a lot, most of the time you don't use. So basically you go for a trip, and then when you come back home and then you open your bag and realize what I used from this one. And then I didn't use this, I didn't use this, I didn't use that. So then the next trip you take the things that you don't use and then becomes smaller and smaller. When you see the last trip I was just like with a small camera, 1 lens and 10 films, that's it. So, and then a pocket camera.
Only film.
No, I shoot digital as well to make
But
sure.
digital with like your Sony,
I
right?
use my Sony now recently, the small one.
Yeah.
Before I was using the Sony A7, and then that was good with Leica lens. I like a lot, so it's pretty small, but it's the same. It's just like a small lens, a small body, and
So you get almost the same effect with that pocket camera versus like a DSLR.
actually it's like this. If you shoot f8 or f6, that's like the background that is not too much bulk.
Sure.
So then it's almost the same. Of course, you get more high dynamic range or this kind
Yeah.
of things. But
for a travel camera, this pocket camera is probably doing almost the same thing.
almost the same, if
Yeah.
you just want to print in like A3 size and put on the wall,
Yeah.
should be enough, but if
Don't
you want to do
need-
some like bulky, like beautiful background
Oh, okay.
distortion, then
So having a bigger sensor is what does that.
Yes,
On the
exactly.
SLR, that's all it is like the bigger sensors can create more bokeh.
exactly. So the sensor is the important one because then you can like expand the size of the photo, and then that's it basically.
Okay.
Like I think it's important to have a good camera. You can get good results, but depends on you if you want to take or not.
Right. It's important to know the reason why you get this big, massive camera. If you're just doing like documentary style, like no need for crazy artsy bokeh, like you can do just fine with even an iPhone.
Yes, exactly. I see, like, you can check on Instagram. There are a lot of good photographers over there. Just like
iPhone.
iPhone. I'm one of my favorites, to be honest. Like, they use only iPhone and they make great photos. Like, and yeah, there's so many people who do a lot
Definitely.
of stuff with the iPhone.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It made me reminded me of this dude. I think Daniel Arnold on Instagram, and he gets very annoyed because everyone always asks him like, "What camera do you use? What camera do you use? What kind of film is that?" And I think it's funny because it doesn't matter. You just got to go out there and shoot. How do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I definitely agree with him. Like, whatever the camera you're using, of course, if you are using a Leica lens, it's good, but doesn't mean that this
Your
will
photo's gonna be good.
will be good.
Yeah.
The photographer be good as well. So whatever the camera you're using, I think the most important thing is just like believe this is good, and then you just keep using that for a long time. Use the same iPhone or the same lens or the same body, whatever, for like 1 year, and then you will start to understand that, and yourself will make good photos, not the
Yeah.
camera that makes photo for you.
Of course,
So-
become very comfortable with the camera you're using.
And if I give this same guy, as you mentioned, Arnold, give my camera, I'm sure he will make good photos because he knows what's a 28 millimeters. He knows what is a 50 millimeters. He knows what's a 85 millimeter.
So
So he should make also pretty good photos.
yeah. So are you saying that maybe focal length is like a very important thing when it comes to shooting? Like
Yes.
probably the most important thing.
I think it's the most important actually, because then it's how the photos will looks like
Right.
or will look wide, or will look like portrait mode, or will look like landscape. Depends. Like, I think the size of the lens, not the f, but the size is the most important.
the millimeter.
The millimeters,
focal
yeah,
length,
yeah.
yes.
So 25, 24, 28, 35,
Yes.
50. So this is the most important thing.
Yeah, you can get such a different effect like shooting wide versus narrow. And I'm talking like even if you cropped into it, looks exactly the same, the perspective can change a lot. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, because like if you get 128 and make a pretty close portrait,
Yeah.
the people's face will be looks like a round.
Yes.
But if you get an 85 and get close, the people's face will become more flat.
yes.
So you need to see what you want. If you want more like this round
yeah.
shape,
You mean more depth maybe?
yeah, it will be more like round, like more depth,
Yeah.
or more like a crystal ball, like
yes.
yeah, like that's how it looks like. So it depends on which lens you want. For example, if you want like pretty flat portrait, then you just use the 85. It's fine, like. But if you want like, so that's why I use always 28, because if you go for 24, you have this kind of a round shape. You can feel that.
Yeah.
And if you go for 35, you don't have that, and 28, you don't have that. So
yeah.
I always use 28 recently, but I use most of my life 35 millimeter lens.
Right. 35 seems to be the most universal like focal length that photographers use for walking around?
Yeah, I think because 35 is like the same as the human size.
It's
So,
roughly that's what they say. It's as
yeah,
close as you can get.
So when you are seeing straight, most of this is the same as the 35 focal length.
Mm.
And then if you try to open your eyes for the sides, then it will be like a 28, 24 if you look like a little bit to the right and left.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's why most of the people use 35
Yeah.
as lens.
Very interesting. So when did you get into photography? At what age?
I started like pretty, like, I don't know, 20 or 20 or
Oh.
18.
Okay.
I started to learn about photography over there. But I was not traveling that much.
Mm.
So I started to travel when I was 15. So I went,
Oh,
my first time when I was 15, my mother sent me to Moscow.
wow.
Yeah. So
So straight that was your first trip out of Brazil.
out of Brazil, out of my hometown. Like actually I traveled nearby, but not that. But
Hmm.
when I was 15, my mother decided me to send to Moscow to study there for a month.
Wow.
And I went there with two friends. So that was the
That's
first
sick.
time that I started my photograph journey, I would say. So I just bring like a film camera.
Yeah.
That time back in 2005, there was not so many digital cameras. There was,
Sure.
but it was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And I didn't have money.
Disposables were popping back then.
Yeah. So
I remember that. That was so much fun.
I shoot a lot of that trip with film. So that was my first trip. And then I start to learn more and more and more. But actually, what I get into photography was back in 2010, December 2010, when I came to China. So that was like my start trying to get better and better and learn more.
Interesting. So I want to know more about Brazil. Like you grew up there. Where did you grow up in Brazil?
I grew up in south of Brazil. So like, in my opinion, it's like one of the best states of Brazil. I always say it's the California of Brazil. Like most of the skaters come from there.
Really? There's a ton of amazing skaters from Brazil. I have no idea why. Like
Yeah.
Leticia and Luan, like so good.
Yeah, Pedro Barros also, like he's from my near city. I born in Tubarão. This is a small city in Santa Catarina state. And then I moved to Joinville. Also, is like the biggest city in the state when I was like, I don't know, 15, 16, whatever.
Okay.
But the best city in my state is Florianopolis. Is like where Pedro Barros come from. It's like a nice island. So it's like Hawaii, to be honest.
Really?
And then they have like nice beaches around, and they have nice skate parks like in the middle. So it's just like I don't know how many beaches, but like maybe 100 or something in the island.
100 beaches.
I think so. I'm guessing, but like it's like
and you
many.
do surfing down there, right?
You can surf, and the best waves of Brazil are over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So jealous. I'd love to go surfing down there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you get to China. Like I want to. Okay, so your first trip was to Russia when you were like 15, and you're living in Brazil. Did you go to college? Did you?
Yeah. So I went to college. Then I was working for a company, like doing like a product development for a bus manufacturer. And then I worked there for, I don't know, almost 2 years. And then the company decided to bankrupt. So
What year was this?
that was back in 2010, exactly.
2010. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so your life kind of starts with China also, like in terms of your career and your professional life.
So then I was working for this company. Then
This was in Brazil.
Yeah, back in Brazil.
Okay.
And I used to work in the US as well when I was 18, 19. I worked in the US as well. So then that was my last one. And then I say, okay, or I go back to US because my sister lives there.
Miami.
Miami. Yeah. Actually, she lives in Palm Beach.
Oh, okay. Before
Yeah,
Florida,
it's like pretty close. And or I go back to Palm Beach and live there and build a career there, study, do masters there, whatever. Or I go to China. So I decided, okay, as I was working back in the US for like a warehouse for cosmetic products and stuff, and they buy a lot of products from China, I say, okay, why not go to China and explore that place? So I bought a ticket to come to here, but I didn't come to like big cities as Beijing, Shanghai, and I went to the countryside called Zhengzhou in Henan province.
Oh, I didn't know that was your first place you went to when you came to China.
That was December 2010. And then I bought a ticket, and then I decided to study there for, I don't know, like two semesters. I study Chinese. And after that, as I finish my Chinese course, I say, okay, I need to do something else, or I go back to Brazil and create a career over there, or I go further. So I went to Beijing, and then I did my master there for 3 years.
Wow.
Until 2014. Then 2014, that was the time that I moved to Shanghai.
Yeah, so that explains why you're so good at Chinese.
Yeah,
You've had quite some
I learned
time.
Chinese like in the countryside. There was not
Exactly, yeah.
There was not so many foreigners over there at that time. Well, maybe there was pretty small community, maybe 5 or 10 foreigners, no more than that, and most of them teaching English over there. And it was pretty good, pretty interesting to go to like the countryside of China, you know.
Especially the first place you go to. I've only lived in Shanghai. I've traveled through China, but I've only lived in Shanghai.
Yeah, I live in Zhengzhou, Beijing, and Shanghai. What I can tell you is that the most amazing one in Shanghai, in my opinion, of those three. I don't know that I travel a lot in China, like almost everywhere, but the city that I really like is Shanghai. I could not live in another place in China except like Shanghai.
That's what I feel just from traveling to other places as well. In my opinion, just from traveling, Shanghai isn't exactly China. It's like a very special, like futuristic, fast, convenient part of China. When you go to the outskirts, even of Shanghai or where you lived, it's not. It is true China. It is harder to live there, not nearly as convenient. Yeah, what do you think about like living outside? How was that?
Yeah, in my opinion, if you live in like small cities in China and big cities like
Like
Shanghai,
even Chengdu, that area.
yeah, for example, they don't have Family Marts over there. They don't have Lawson. So if you want to get a cold beer, it's really hard to do that, especially before. I don't know how it's in this recently years because most of the time I'm here now in Shanghai. But you cannot get like most of the foods like it's like Chinese food. So if you want to get a burger or pizzas as something impossible. And as I'm Brazilian, I like those kind of foods. I like Chinese food, of course. It's not bad, but I cannot eat that every day.
Exactly.
Sometimes I need like a salad or I need like some sandwiches or some burgers or something like their Japanese food. And if you're in small cities of China, you can find, but not that much. It's getting more and more, but not as Shanghai.
Yeah, not nearly. Shanghai has to be the most convenient city I've ever. I mean, living wise. What about you? What favorite cities? Where would you rank Shanghai in terms of favorite cities in the world?
Nah, in the world, it's really hard to say. I like Shanghai, but when you stay here longer, you start to hate.
I think that's everywhere, though.
Yeah, I think it's like common sense, but I think Shanghai is pretty convenient, pretty good. Like we are living in a city that has 20 millions or 25 millions, whatever. I don't know.
Upwards of 25.
Yeah, 25 million.
They measure it by a massive diameter. It's like hundreds of kilometers. I think that they measure this 25 million population, 25 plus. So it's a little bit like misleading, but it is still a massive number of people.
Yeah, so if you imagine we are living in a city of 25 millions and we don't have traffic jams, we have a little bit. You cannot complain about that.
You know what? We really don't have that. When you think about how many people are here, they do a pretty damn good job with traffic.
So the metro system is amazing. That is like only time that it's busy is like maybe between at 7 o'clock in the morning and 5, and it's only on the Renmin Square or People Square.
Yeah, Renmin Guangchang.
And that's not that much. Normally I commute like in the city, like by metro, by bus, by bike, whatever, and by taxi, by car. And never had
so many
problem.
ways to get around the city.
Yes, and if you compare with São Paulo, that's like 17 million people. It's crazy, man. I was there like now in March, and so many traffic jams. Every place that you go, you need to consider the time because you will be stuck in a traffic jam.
Yeah, terrible.
So, and it's pretty safe as well. So you can walk anytime here, like, I don't know, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. or whatever, and nothing will happen to you. But if you go in other cities, maybe even in states like New York, if you walk at this time, can be dangerous as well. Depends where you're walking.
Yeah, Shanghai is a super safe city as well.
Yeah, so I kind of really like,
all around, it checks off a lot of boxes in terms of like long-term living here. Again, you get bored of any place. So the way I live is I love to leave the city for like at least 1 month in July and then maybe, 1 month during the winter. And that's enough time to recharge your batteries from a city and, kind of take a break from how fast this life is.
Yeah. I stay outside of Shanghai for almost 2 years when I went to Germany back in 2016. And,
so you took a break for about 2 years?
Almost that.
I remember that. Yeah, because I got here in 2015 and I met you for the year and then you were kind of gone. And yeah, so you took you were working in Germany.
Yeah, I was working. Actually, I moved to Shanghai 2014 for work for the automotive industry. And then
is that the Hong Kong story?
Yeah, it's the Hong Kong story, the same guy. So it's a German company, pretty famous one. And I was working there from 2014 until 2016. And then they decided they liked the way I was working and they decided me to send to Germany to work there. So I moved there with my wife and then we stayed there. And then after like almost 2 years there, and I was getting a bit, okay, I want to go back to Shanghai. That was like company stuff that I don't want to mention. And then I say, okay, I want to go back to Shanghai. So I come back to Shanghai, then I see the change like in this time, like when you stay outside of Shanghai and when you come back and then you can feel the changes of the city, like I moved there was no Mobike. When I arrived, was completely full of Mobike. There was no like the metro system that you can pay with your QR code. Now you can pay with that. Yeah. So when you stay outside and when you come back, then you really realize the change of the city and how fast it's changing this, That's what's making me impressive with Shanghai. And there is not any other city in the world as changing as fast as Shanghai at the moment.
Definitely. I talked to John Saw about that because he's almost a little more extreme than what you're doing because he first arrived in 2012 and he's lived here pretty much on and off, 1 year on, 1 year off, 1 year on, 1 year off, almost consistently for the past like 7 or 8 years. So he really saw every year just these massive leaps, like what you said with the Mobike and, you know, WeChat Pay. Like when I first got here, WeChat was not new, but it was very basic. It was almost like a skeleton of what it is today. Today, you pay for everything at Family Mart with it. You pay for you could buy railway tickets, plane tickets, send money to friends, accept money. It's actually amazing what they've done with WeChat. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. When I arrived here, there was no WeChat, no Alipay, nothing that like I remember that the only communication app that we used was like QQ.
Oh yeah,
And
QQ,
then
yeah.
WeChat, I think, came in 2012 or something like this. I don't
yeah.
remember exactly the year.
Probably 2012 around
Yeah,
then. Because
yeah.
I can't believe it. Yeah, people were just. Can you remember texting? I don't know the last time I texted a friend just to like, you know, through like SMS.
Oh, no. No, I don't. I think
Never
I don't
here,
remember.
never.
Maybe back in Brazil or
Yeah, you go back home. Everyone still uses texting
not
back in America also.
with SMS. No, I
Never.
don't remember last time I did that actually.
Yeah, man. So health and fitness. I know you used to run a lot and you're getting back into it now. Have you always been super into running and that kind of stuff?
Actually, it was like I don't know. I started that maybe in 2015 when I started to run that because I don't know. I was like a bit fat, so I say, okay, I want to be healthy. Stop.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember you were a little chubby, and then all of a sudden you're just thin as fuck.
Yeah, and then
so it wasn't always. You kind of like recently, I would say, in the past couple of years,
yeah,
got
2015, and then I say, okay, I want to lose weight. I want to become more healthy.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I'd start to run. So then it was pretty hard for me because I don't know, I was like 90 kilos, 95 kilos, I guess. And then when you run, I was feeling pretty tired. And then I remember that was like kind of progress that you start to running more and more and more and doing more exercise. And this was pretty exciting. And now for me, it's just like kind of a daily task that I need to do every day before I sleep. And
so you do it before you sleep?
Yeah, or at night, like do it at night. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Most of the time because before I was working, like in a normal time schedule, like 8 in the morning all the way to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Or I could run before the 8, or I run after that. So I get used to run like between 6 to 8 o'clock. So yeah, and then I run almost every day. I don't like to run long distance. I just like run like a small distance, just like make you sweat a little bit.
Yeah, just get a sweat going.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the most important thing, like just go sweating a little bit, and then that's make you feel more, I don't know, more healthy and stuff. So that's why I'm doing that almost every day.
That's pretty cool. Can you tell me at all about your injury? Because I know you hurt your knee. So that was because of running, correct?
Yeah, because I think I was running almost every day. That time I was like running constantly, and then my I would say my distance was becoming longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then at some time I was running almost 10 kilometers every day. That was a kind of lot for me, and I was not doing exercise with my leg. So my muscles starts to burn, I guess, and then I was not taking care.
You mean stretching? Maybe.
Yeah, no, because
you're doing
like,
exercise.
When you burn your muscles, no, you burn your fat first, and then when you don't have more fat in your body, so you start to burn your muscles.
Oh
yes.
wow!
So then,
it wasn't a knee; it was a muscle injury.
Was the muscles? Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not that
that
thin, but like before.
No, but yeah, you got a little too thin. Yeah, that
I was
happens.
start to burn the fat. I was not eating that much, so because when you run, you need to. You burn a lot of calories, so you must take that back. Like
sure,
it
has to be a balance.
Yeah,
it has to be a balance.
Must be a balance. So then I start to have some hurts on my knees. So then I check. I went to the hospital in Germany to check what's going on, and then they did an MRT.
MRI
or MRT? I don't know.
Maybe I've only heard of MRI.
MRI.
It might be
MRI.
MRI.
Sorry. And then they found I have a meniscus on my
meniscus tear probably.
Yeah, on my right knee. Oof. And then I start to slow run. So before I was running like I don't know 10 kilometers every day, and then I slow down. Now I maybe do like 3, 4, no more than or 5, something like this. Because if I do that much, maybe I'll have the same problem, and I want to avoid that. So I'm not doing that anymore. Like that long distance.
Yes, I mean, unfortunately, you have to learn a lesson like that. You have to just go through it.
Yeah.
Kind of hard. Did you was it a full recovery within just like your body healed it, or did you have to do surgery?
I took some. They want me to do surgery. They said they need, but I say, man, I will not do that. I would just it's like uh, slow run, run less, and I was take some pills for the joints, like
Yeah,
some
like-
medicines,
Mm.
like some gels. I don't know, whatever. I was just taking that, and then suddenly stopped to hurt that much. I still can feel that, but if I run long distance, I will feel. But then I start just like run less, just burn some calories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Something I wanted to go back to Germany a little bit. So what year was that you worked there? 2016 to
In 17.
Oh, so 2016 to 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I back here, I guess was in October 2017.
Makes sense.
Yes, and then when I come back, I was like there, working there, living there. Germany was awesome. I love Germany. Probably will go back somehow.
What
because
city in Germany?
I was living in Dortmund, so it's like
I have no idea.
pretty close to Amsterdam, Holland, I would say, but
Yeah,
to Amsterdam is like
yeah.
2 hours and a half
Okay, so it's
driving.
on it would be like the eastern. The eastern side of Germany.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty close to Netherlands, to be honest. And it was pretty good. Like I was there, like good life, but basically I was like working for a company. So most of the time I was inside of the office, just like
Yeah.
working pretty hard. Was good, but no regrets. I love Germany. I love the people. I love the country, and probably I will be back there to work there somehow in my life because it was pretty interesting experience. But it's a place that's pretty hard to make friends. It's the same as we start to comment here in the beginning. Here in Shanghai, it's more easy to meet people because like there are a lot of expats here, so it's more
Definitely.
easy to get close to. But in Germany, it's a bit hard. People are more close. But if you want just have like a comfortable life and easy, like without expectation, I think Germany is pretty interesting country to live.
Yeah, I've never lived in Europe. I traveled there very, very briefly. Can you tell me a little bit about like living there? Did you get to travel a lot to other? Because
Yeah,
I've never lived there, and I'm so curious.
Yeah,
what it's
yeah.
like to live
I
there.
traveled so much there because when I was living there, I was working for this company and we have the weekends. So there was nothing to do there. And when you work in Germany as well, you have normally 30 days off.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah. So we have 30 days like holidays. So I start to travel a lot there. So, and it's pretty good because Germany, they really take care about like the employees.
Yeah.
So they give a lot of days, they give healthy, they give everything. Like, so then I travel quite a lot. So every weekend I was out to going somewhere. So that year I went like to Georgia, to Chernobyl. I went to
You went to Chernobyl.
yeah.
Dude, have you seen the Chernobyl HBO series that's going on right now?
Yeah. I started to watch. I'm on the third episode
Oh
right
my
now,
God.
and
So good.
it's
So good.
It's really good, and it's pretty similar as what I saw over there. So yeah, it's pretty nice. So I travel. I think I have been in all the countries in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. How many countries do you think that is? I don't know how many
I
countries
don't
are
know,
in Europe.
but I think 40.
It's upwards of 40,
30,
right?
40. Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know
30 or
exactly.
40.
I don't know exactly the number, but I have been in all the countries over there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Tell me about Russia and Chernobyl. I want to know everything about that trip because it's actually quite interesting. This HBO miniseries is causing somewhat of an uproar in Russia right now because Russia denies a lot of the things that they're saying in this series. My friend, he lives in Russia, or no, he lives here, but he's traveling back to Russia, and he's told me about what's happening. Like, the government is denying, and it's quite an issue.
Yeah, that trip, like I was in Germany, then I got some days off, like of my work and stuff. So I had a friend who was living in France, and then we decided to meet in Ukraine. So I flew from from Germany all the way to Kiev, and then he did the same from France all the way to Kiev, and then we met there, and then we decided to visit Chernobyl. So when you go to Chernobyl, normally they have like kind of a tour that you bring you there and take you for a
tourist
day.
spot now.
Yeah, because I don't want to go there by myself because there's a lot of radiation there.
Creepy, yeah.
Some people go and do camping there like at night and stuff. But
I wanna spend
say,
as little time as possible
No
there.
way. I just want to go as fast as possible. Don't touch
Get
the
photos
things.
and get out.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So, and then I was there. We got a tour. So the guys took us there and we spent a day inside of Chernobyl, all inside of the facilities and stuff. And we just like walk and stuff. It was pretty good. But I just want to leave that place as soon as possible because I want less radiation as possible.
course.
And there was a guy in our group, in our tour group, and he was from like Israel, and he was like touching everything, getting the
Ooh,
metal.
he doesn't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, and then I took a photo of him. He was just like holding like there's a chair for women that is doing like
Birth?
birth the baby, and
Yeah,
then he was
yeah.
just sitting
Labor
there,
chair.
like take some photos and touching the mat. I say,
Oh
man,
my
this guy is
God.
crazy. And we was just watching him, and we were saying, I don't want you to touch anything.
I don't want to touch you anymore.
Yeah. The guy was so pretty crazy, but it was pretty nice experience to go there and see what's the reality and how it happens and learn more about the history. And yeah, it was good.
The tour guide must be a fool.
Yeah,
Because he does that day in and day out.
Yes, I asked him, do you have any problems with the radiation? Because you're coming here every day, in, out, in, out. He said, I don't care.
Yeah.
He was like,
some people just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. And I would say, all right. I asked him, but he's doing that almost every day. Probably they know, I guess.
They must have some idea what's going on.
Yeah, like the wind, when the radiation comes and
But you
stuff.
know what's crazy is, you know what? Some people really don't. Some people really don't know, because I feel like one of the best gifts I've ever gotten is the ability to travel. And I think that's how I've become more cultured over time and, more educated just through traveling. And some people, like maybe that guy has never left his hometown of Chernobyl or right outside of Chernobyl. So he might genuinely not know how bad this is for him.
Yeah, it's the same as when you see some workers, I don't know, working with like aluminum, chrome, like grinding, like metal, and they are breathing that the pounder that comes out. So that's pretty unhealthy,
Terribly.
But people are doing that daily and they don't know because they were not educated and they don't know what's going on. So it's crazy, but yeah, it already happened. So now just history.
Now just history.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like the older I get, I hope the more wise I get, I learn like how important information is. Just information is super, super important in terms of like developing and growing. What do you think about that? Like do you think it relates to traveling or?
I think myself, I never like to stop learning something. So when I feel that I'm not learning something, I try to find something that I want to learn. So I think information is pretty good. So for example, traveling opens your mind. So when you go to a different country, so you always learn something, especially maybe sometimes useful, sometimes doesn't useful. But anyway, you're still learning something. So I think it's pretty important to travel and learn, ask people. I think the most important thing is just ask people and also listen. There are people who likes to talk, but I'm the kind of people that I like to listen more than talk because you can learn more from that, So try to listen as much as you can and then read, and then you become like more, you get more information through that, So I was working for a company also, as I mentioned before, and I was just like finish my master and I said, man, I want to go for a university and do a PhD. So then now I'm doing a PhD here in Shanghai because I want to learn more. So I'm this kind of person that I like to learn, keep learning. And I think this is the most important thing.
Yeah, man. I wanted to bring that up. You have to be one of the busiest people I've ever met. I know you vlog every single day. And then you edit and maybe put a bunch up at once. So you do YouTube, you do Instagram like crazy, photography. I know you have your own business. Isn't it's import and export? Is that your business?
Yeah. Me and my wife, we opened a company here in Shanghai that we have some customers in Brazil that we export. And if you guys want to export, just let me know.
Hit up Theo.
Yeah. And we are doing pretty well. So it's like a trade company for import and export business. And it's pretty good. So it's like kind of learning process. As soon as I got back to Shanghai, we build that. So, and then we are learning, we are getting more customers, and it's everything in life, like you keep learning as more as you do. So now we are kind of, I would say, pretty professional in that field. And we have like pretty fixed customers that we talk all the time. And then we are exporting to Brazil. Most of our customers in Brazil, but I also have some in US, like, I'm pretty busy, like I'm doing like the video on YouTube as well. I do that for fun. I like to create something as you are creating the podcast here. I think I like to meet these kind of people. And I always take the camera with me, the small one. If I see opportunity, I just like keep recording all the time. And I just like post on YouTube. If there is something, actually I just try to do that to keep as memory. Don't keep it on my hard disk and like stop there.
Yeah, just let it die on the hard disk.
I get a lot of contacts through that because a lot of people start to talk to me, ask me questions, and I think that's pretty interesting, like to meet new people and talk with more, So that's why I'm always trying to create something. I'm always pretty busy, but I like to be busy,
Definitely. I want to talk about the name of this podcast is called Observing the Process. And for me, I've come to feel that you have to love the process of what you're doing. You have to love the journey. You have to even love the failures that may come along with, starting a business or your photography. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on like some of your failures that you've had throughout, like, it doesn't have to be a massive failure, but like let's maybe talk about the business. Like, what are some things you've learned that you have to learn it as you're doing it? You can't be told this lesson.
Oh, that's a really hard question, man. I need to think about that because there are so many like mistakes when happen
Yeah.
when you learn. Like, but normally you learn, but it's automatic process. So for me, at least, when I make a mistake, I try to automatically change and learn. So I don't pay that much attention on my mistakes. I try to pay more attention on the right things that I do. But I'm sure like I had so many like problems and I don't know, mistakes on my way on not only on the working side but also on the creative side. Like for example, what I can tell on the creative side is that, for example, before I was using maybe one camera like that was pretty shit, and then I waste like I don't know a lot of time using that, believing that was right, and then I realized that camera was not that right.
Okay.
So then I said, man, why I was wasting like almost 2 years doing this camera shooting with this, and then I now check the result was really bad. But now from that mistake, from like the creative side that I learned that was like pretty bad, now I will not do the same mistake again. So
you won't ever make that mistake
yeah, but
again.
in business is the same. So you do like the same failure a lot of time consistent,
Sure.
and then you realize, well, it cannot be in this way, and then you fix, and then you try to change. So that's how it works, but it's hard to say which ones like
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
I don't
regret.
need a specific example. What you said right there with the film is very important. I think maybe it sounds like that might have been the first time you learned that lesson. Like you spent 2 years. 2 years is a long time. And I'm sure I've made those mistakes too.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, like when I make a mistake like that, or somewhat of what you could do air quotes, like failure, I love to write it down and reflect on that. So I have like just a list of lessons, life lessons. And every once in a while I'll go and read them and, kind of do like a refresher of what's good for me and how I can move forward in a positive way. Do you do anything do you take notes? I'm curious about this process for other people as well.
Yeah, I normally take notes of the things that I will do, and then I keep inside of a book.
Yeah.
So I just always write in the same book.
Always writing on it.
Always write. If I want to get back, I just go there and I have all the things that I did. For example, today I'm here. I write there that I was coming to the Alex like podcast and stuff. And then probably a few years later, we just check that. So, but
that's cool.
I always do like to-do list in my life, everything that I need to do. But yeah, and then I just write everything so I can go back and then check what's happened. And also I can do the same as with the videos that I'm using on YouTube. So I have videos from like 2-3 years ago that I can go there and watch and say, man, I was so stupid at that time.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like it's just like life.
No, it's about going back and like loving the memories. I think that's so much fun to go back and see. Like a lot of people may think, oh, just live in the moment, man. Like put down the camera, let's live in the moment. But you're not doing it like for the likes or for the fame. You're doing it for the memories. And I think that's a special and a positive reason to always have a camera out or always be having fun.
Yeah, I don't care about who is watching or who is writing comments and stuff. I just do for myself and then for the friends and for the family. Maybe I don't know. It's cool to see what's going on. Like on my birthday, like 3 years ago, I can go back there and I have the footage over there. And if you just put on my hard disk on my computer, I cannot check that again. So it's just like, it's easy to access the information. And I like to have this feeling of easy access of information.
Definitely.
When you need, you can show the people. So that's the coolest
right,
stuff.
Searchable on YouTube, so important.
And in anything, like even like if you ask me a photo from 2012, January 1st, I can easily find and give in 10 seconds.
10 seconds on the iPhone. Searching is quite easy.
I like this accessible stuff,
Yeah. How do you feel about posting your life online?
I don't care if I do that like not instantly. Most of my videos I don't post at the moment.
Right.
I post the things from the past. So my past I don't care. And I don't post scenes like I'm inside of my home and I'm doing my things. No, I don't post that.
It's not about
just
that.
like put more feeling what I'm thinking at the time or where I am outside. This I don't care. But I don't show my private life, for example. I don't show my wife.
Sure.
I try to not show my friends. I just like myself showing like speaking some bullshit. Like
okay.
For myself, and then for the future, some people are interested and they listen and they watch that and they give comments. Some can get some inspiration for others. So that's what I do,
Yeah, I actually do like the way you vlog. It's documentary style. It's a way of remembering. And a lot of people, like when I tried to vlog, I basically tried to copy Casey Neistat's style. complete mistake. That right there, that's one failure for me and a mistake. And something I learned is like, okay, I want to vlog. Let me just be Casey Neistat. Didn't work. It looks ridiculous. I hated holding the camera up to my face, walking around. It was just not for me. So I learned a lot more about my style, and it kind of translated into Shanghai Observed being a little more anonymous. I love this podcast. I love learning things just like you said. So been growing a lot from that.
Yes, one of the reasons that I make more videos in the last years is that, like, when I came to China in 2010, I didn't make that much, so I don't have that much footage. I don't have that much photos. And it's a kind of like, okay, if I don't have from 2011 or 12 or stuff, why? Because I didn't make it, and then I don't have any. I have memories for myself that I can process inside of my brain, but our brain is like pretty. It's just remember some of the best moments, but you don't remember everything. But sometimes it's good to have the information there that you can go and you can check.
Yeah.
But in your brain doesn't process like everything that you live in your life. So
Definitely.
if I can go and search that, I think it's something good for me. So I don't have that much footage like videos from 2011, 12. I have only photos and say, okay, why not make videos? Doesn't waste any of my time. And just like creating something for myself. And I do it pretty fast. I try to spend as less time as possible because I don't want like be on my computer and editing my videos and doing this kind of things. I just do that as fast as possible to not waste time with that, you know?
Right. So getting back to like productivity and how you stay efficient. For me, I use Evernote and it's digital note taking. For you, you say you use a pen and paper. So do you use any digital note taking or do you...
Yes. I use a lot of Evernote.
Yeah, Evernote is great.
Yeah,
so
so
many people use
I
it.
organize that everything in my digital life. Everything is over there. I also a lot of Google Drive that I can access my information pretty easy. So I separate by years and stuff. So of course, I use a lot of Dropbox as well. Like all my informations also are online. But the things that I want to do, I like to write because the write is the easiest way to learn something. So if you write down and you always remember about that. But sometimes
That's so true.
if you type, you cannot remember
I agree.
as much as when you write. So that's why I have the self behavior to like to always write down the things because then I can remember I need to do that. Or for me, it's more easy. It's the same as when you're learning a language. You can only learn when you're writing, repeat all the time. So for me, make notes is the same. It's just not to keep. Of course, digital is much better, but it's just more learning and remember about information.
I agree. I enjoy the act of writing. It does something that like sticks with your brain more. Like even like if I know I have to go, let's say buy milk after class, and I'll even just write it on my hand, and just so like I have to remember. Like even if it's in the next hour, there's something about not exactly just writing on your hand or just writing it out. Why is that? It's so funny.
Yeah, even I bought an Apple Watch some days ago, and they have an option here that you can talk with it, and then makes like to-do list.
Really?
Yeah, I use that to do that a lot, but I never remember to check. But if I have a paper and I write down, I always check that, so it's more easy for me to remember the things to do. Even with this technology that you can write down, do stuff, and I don't use that much, to be honest. Like I prefer write down and then knows what I need to do.
Yeah, somehow good old pen and paper
Yes.
does it better than digital. But one thing I've been using is WeChat is actually amazing for me and to-do list. What I do is for WeChat, if I have a notification within WeChat, that's kind of my to-do list. So even if I read it, I'll go back and mark it unread. And then when I'm not busy, I go scroll and see what I have to do.
Yeah.
That's been really good for me. And another thing you can do is set reminders within WeChat. You can like long press on a message and then set reminder. And then you can be like in 3 days at 12 o'clock.
Wow.
And it sends you the message again. That's been amazing for me for productivity.
I never tried that. I need to learn.
Yeah, there's so many little hidden gems within WeChat, like that, for example.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then also, even in Instagram, there's a ton of hidden gems, like on the story. Did you know you can, if you're in your photo album, you can copy it, and then when you go to story, you can paste it and resize it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so those kind of new features that comes out, not only with like WeChat, Instagram, or anything else like Apple. I always like to learn, because make your productivity high. So like you become faster with those kind of things, like, and I really like to learn this. So after this podcast, for sure, I will try the Instagram and the WeChat.
I'll teach you some tricks, dog.
Yeah,
I got you.
I want to learn that.
Yeah. What other YouTubers do you like? Are there any YouTubers that you like a lot?
I like one channel called Vox.
Vox. Yeah, very good for learning.
Yeah, that I like a lot of politicians and politics and stuff. And they always mention something going on over there. I like
Mm.
that channel a lot. I like the Vice one. The Vice one is
Vice
pretty
is
good.
fun, yeah.
Yeah. Case Neistat, I like
Just for
him.
entertainment, kind of. But you can still
Entertainment.
learn stuff through him too.
Yeah. I like for the creative process. He teaches a lot.
Definitely.
Yes.
I love his creative process.
Yeah, I like that as well. Then there are a few ones I would just like subscribe the ones I like, but
Yeah.
most of them like documentary wise. I love to watch documentaries and stuff
Mm.
or learning stuff. I always go to YouTube and say, how can I learn coloring, grading on Adobe Premiere? So I
Yeah.
always learn this kind of things, or how can I cook a better beef or steak, you know, like or how can I always like go like and learn from other people, you know, like how can I
Definitely.
make better color stuff, whatever. Yeah, I always do that. So most of my when I see my YouTube, it's like learning something, you know, like so I
Yeah.
always go there and try to learn something from others.
Sweet. I love that kind of stuff too. I really love the ones that like tutorials that seem almost useless. Like for example, I looked up on YouTube how to store lemons. Like I want to know how to store lemons longer. And then I came across this tutorial where this one woman, it's so funny. She's called like Alaska Granny or something. And she has this YouTube channel where she does like home tutorials of how to do stuff like home living. And what she does is she will take like 8 lemons and get all the juice, and then she puts them in ice cube trays. So you have little ice cubes of just lemon. So it's perfect amount. Like for me, what I love to do in the morning is I'll put like a little bit of lemon and hot water as the first thing you drink, and then you drink 1 glass of water. It's an amazing way to start your day for your health and get your body going. So just like weird stuff like that you can find on YouTube is so amazing.
Yes. I use a lot. Not only YouTube, but there is one app called Quora.
It's like a Q?
It's like Quora.
Oh, Quora, yes, yes.
The one to read. That one you can learn a lot of from people as well. Those are the most things that I read actually, like Reddit, Quora, and then YouTube. So you can get a lot of information from those 3 channels.
Yeah, for sure, man. Pretty awesome. Well, listen, Theo, I think this has been amazing. I love talking to you. I think you got a lot of cool stuff going on. Can you tell me your Instagrams and how people can find you?
Yeah, my Instagram is like Theopaul, Theopaul. Like it's Theo is my name, like my name is Theo, and then my middle name actually from my mother's side is Paul, so it's like a German side family.
Cool.
And then my father is Santana. So in Brazil we have most of that 3 names. I don't know in US or other
Yeah, we got
countries.
3 names in the US.
Yeah, so mine is like Theopaul and Santana. That's the name of my passport, and you can check me on Instagram as well at Theopaul.
Yeah. Oh, wait, before we wrap up, I wanted to talk about China camera style.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So China camera style was back in 2015. There is a lot of Japanese camera style, like Tokyo camera style. There is a lot of camera style, but there was no one here in China. So back in 2015, I decided to create this, and then I started to go to the market called Xinguan.
Xinguan, yeah.
If you guys don't know, like the best camera market in the world. So
you think so?
It's awesome, man.
It's
like,
amazing. I agree.
Yeah,
you were with me when I got my first camera.
Yeah,
my first film camera.
The Canon one, right?
Yeah, the Canon one that I just took a photo of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was a good buy.
Yeah, I love like the analog process and the film and stuff. So I think I travel a lot, man. I have been like almost all the countries around the world, and I can tell you that market is amazing, you know, like because okay, the price is not amazing, but what you can see there, what you can try that, and the second hand is like unbelievable. You cannot find like maybe in Japan you can do that, but it's not
one big building.
Not one big building.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have like 3 or 4 floors only with camera equipment.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
That's awesome. So then back in 2015, I used to go there, take some photos of the cameras and post on this Instagram, but I think it was a kind of boring because it was just like everyone was doing that post like pictures of cool cameras. But then I decided, okay, when I back to China in 2017, I decided to create a new type of way so that I ask people and talk with people and ask their Instagram and also present their camera holding their hands. Because and then I say I think that would be more attractive for the people to see. Not
definitely, it's more personal, and you create a relationship with someone. You get them involved in the community.
Yeah. So then I mark the people that owns the camera, and then I can promote their Instagram, and I also can show their camera, and people are pretty welcome to say like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So then I start to do that, and then I like to do it more and more and more. So I did that for almost 1 year and a half, 2 years. And then there was a guy here now who moved into Shanghai. He's from England. He used to follow me there when he was back in England. His name is Josh. And then
Josh.
And then I say, hey man, can you help me to just ask people more on the streets? Because he's always like skating, how it's like working, take some photos. Just ask people and help me to post things over there. So he's helped me to upload more and more photos, because
Awesome.
as all the cameras that I post over there is like analog. So it's like old film cameras. It's not easy to find. You can walk in Shanghai for, I don't know, the whole day. Maybe you will find one or even not one.
It's not that easy to find.
Not easy. Maybe in Japan or other countries are more easy, but in China it's not that easy. So yeah, then I create a website now. Now we are like posting like a lot of articles, like photos articles, like teaching people. And we also create a YouTube channel. So I'm the guy who is like editing the videos, taking the videos, doing some kind of small documentaries. So we present cameras and then do kind of preview and review for those cameras. So I think we are on the 10th episode. And we don't have that much subscriber. I think maybe almost 100, but we just started like 3 months ago. And we have 10 videos, but we have videos with 2,000 views, like
that's awesome,
1,000 views. Yeah. And we just like showing camera and presenting cameras, like how it works. So Josh is like the main guy that I record him, and you are English speaker, so your English is better than mine. So you just speak and I just take the video. So I bring in some cameras, some films, and then he just use the camera. We just do some kind of review for those analog cameras.
That's awesome. What's your favorite camera you guys have done so far?
I like one from my friend. He's a photographer. His name is Bacchus. He has a Bessler 6x7.
Bessler.
Yes, it's
Never
like
heard of that.
Yeah, it's similar as a Fuji. And I think that camera is like pretty beautiful one. Like some weeks ago, we were like in a kind of he was doing presentation of a project that he created. Even Alex was there about America. So he.
Oh yeah. So that dude.
That dude. He has a camera, and that camera costs like almost like $3,000-$4,000, and it's a medium format camera, and it's pretty beautiful. And I think it's one of the most beautiful that I posted on Instagram so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Medium format film.
Yeah, it's a medium format camera. Yeah. So as in films, normally you have like the medium, like the 35 millimeters, and the large format.
They have large format. Have you ever used a large format camera?
Yeah, I have. We have a group here in Shanghai only for people who likes large format.
Really?
Yeah, and we do some kind of event sometimes, like just to talk about like what's going on and stuff. It's pretty interesting process, but it's pretty slow. I personally don't like that much, but people who are like more patient and have time to think about the process and then relax, breathe, so maybe they like that. But I'm more like fast, so I like like the small 35 millimeter film.
I feel you. Remember when we came across that place? Me, you, and Josh. We were trying to. I think it was Josh. We were trying to find a photo show, and then we ended up going into the studio. This guy's studio. It was very nice. It was close on Jianguolu. Do you remember? And he has like remember from the outside you can see like it looks like a studio, but then on the inside it's a real studio.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Have you ever been back to that guy's place?
No, but he's inside of the group, the one I mentioned, the large format groups on WeChat, and he always sends.
He's a large format. He's a
large
processor.
format. Yeah. He does like enlargement, so he basically gets the negative and enlarge inside of a huge photo. And he also does like a lot of crazy stuff, like old stuff. But I like that. But now, recently years, to buy the chemistry, to buy the film, is too much money that I say, I like, but I prefer just stay in the normal size and then make my photos for fun. That's it.
Yeah, it's a little too nerdy once you get. But what's the reason why people do large format? Is it the ability to blow up massive, or is it like what's the reason?
I think the main reason is that normally you want to keep learning something, like
it's just another way to do it.
Another way to do. So basically you start at the small one, the 35 as everyone start, and then you go for the medium format. And then you think the medium format is not enough. Then you want to go to large format, and then you think large format is not enough, and then you keep going.
Is there a stuff above large format?
I don't know. Maybe some people do like, I don't know, crazy stuff, but I have no idea. Like, need to go pretty deep for sure. Like maybe people listening, they know, of course, has, but I don't follow that much. You know, like I stop on like the medium format, and that's it.
Yeah. I feel you. And the meetups in Shanghai, I'm curious about that. You're pretty involved with the camera meetups. What do you think about that? Have you organized them? Do you just attend them? Or?
Yeah, I used to create a lot before. Like,
right. Did you use meetup.com? I love meetup.com.
I have a community there with more than 1,000 followers.
That's amazing.
That I create there. Like they call Shanghai Photographers Meetup Group. And then I used to do that a lot, but more for relationship, not like to take photos. Because when you go with 12 people inside of
I've always been turned off by that. Like, what's the point of shooting with 12 people?
No, I think
it's good for making connections. I agree.
Yeah, make connections, talk with people, see their camera, what's their shooting, their ability, like the way they shoot, like know their Instagram, check their photos and stuff. But to really take photos and be active, no, that's not the perfect way. And I used to do that a lot, but it get kind of boring, so I'm not doing that much anymore.
Okay.
But if I have time, sometimes I do that. I did one in London when I was living there, like 2 years ago. I was living in London, and then I created a community there inside of Meetup, and then
How
people.
long were you living in London?
I stayed there for 1 month and almost 2 months.
That's
studying
about
there.
living. Yeah, I'd say over 1 month you can consider yourself living.
No, I
there.
was studying there. I did a business program there in a London
the-
business school. And then me and my friend, we decided to go there and then study. So I studied there. And and then I say, man, I have time. Let's do something. So I just created the meetup group there, and more than 300 people. I don't know the size now. I can double check later.
That's crazy. So
when
there's just some meetup community.
Yeah.
Because you were there for 2 months, and now there's a bunch of people that like talk about
Talk
photography.
with me like this, like, man, if you create anything that you like and have passion about, easy, I can tell you, will come pretty fast and become big. So
Right.
I say, it's hard. No, it's not hard. Just create and then try. Like, I think the try is the most important
Try
thing,
your
you know.
best.
Just try, like if you just complain or just sit on the bed and say, I will not do that. So then never will become anything, like you just need to create and then do that. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, thank you, man. One last time, you got Theo Paul on Instagram, and it's my cameras. Like, what is the
China camera style?
China camera style.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. So
yeah, pretty awesome, man. Well, thank you. I'll see you around, man.
yeah, same to you, man. Thanks for letting me come. And then, yeah, I appreciate that. And Shanghai Observed is awesome. I can tell you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Boom. That's it. Thanks so much for listening. I really am excited about how this podcast is turning out, but I can always improve. I would love to hear your feedback. If you want to reach out and suggest I talk about something specific or have a specific guest on, you can email me at shanghaiobserved@gmail.com. That is shanghaiobserved@gmail.com. Also, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by shanghaiobserved.com/shop. That's right, I'm plugging my own shop. It means so much that people already buy my stuff. If you want to support me, you can go to shanghaiobserved.com and buy a shirt or whatever's on there right now. Even if you buy a sticker, it really supports and helps me do what I love to do. I owe it all to you guys. Thank you so much for listening and supporting me. Thanks a bunch. Peace, guys. Also, if you enjoyed the intro and outro music, it was made by my brother, Danny Greenberg. You can go and check out his beats at soundcloud.com/estoric. ESTORIC. Okay, that's it for now. Peace.